A year and a half ago, supporters of President Donald Trump attacked the U.S. Capitol in an attempt to overturn the 2020 election. This summer, the House committee investigating the events of that day opened hearings in Washington. On June 9th, more than 20 million people tuned in to watch the committee's first hearing, scheduled in prime time.
It was domestic enemies of the Constitution who stormed the Capitol and occupied the Capitol.
The committee is led by Mississippi Democrat Benny Thompson and Vice Chair Liz Cheney, a Republican from Wyoming.
President Trump summoned a violent mob and directed them illegally to march on the United States Capitol.
It is laying out evidence for two audiences: Americans watching at home, many of whom have already made up their minds, and prosecutors at the Justice Department, who could ultimately bring charges against former administration officials, including Trump himself, for conspiring to overturn the election. The committee has played testimony from an array of senior members of the Trump administration, including former Attorney General Bill Barr. Barr said he informed Trump that there was no substance to the claims of election fraud that the president repeated in the lead up to January 6th.
When I went into this and would, tell him how crazy some of these allegations were, there was never an indication of interest in what the actual facts were.
Even Trump's daughter, Ivanka, has testified that she accepted Barr's assessment about the election.
I respect Attorney General Barr, so I accepted what he was saying.
And the committee has released new footage taken on January 6th, further establishing a timeline of key events at the Capitol that day. Video presented by the committee shows the Proud Boys, identified as key instigators on January 6th, and the target of federal charges.
These are our streets!
$20 a picture.
But the hearing's most dramatic testimony came on June 28th, when Cassidy Hutchinson, a former top aide to Trump's chief of staff Mark Meadows, delivered a series of revelations about the president's behavior on January 6th. First, Hutchinson said Trump's attorney Rudy Giuliani had predicted the president would go to the Capitol on January 6th, where the election of Joe Biden would be certified. Meadows, she said, also foresaw things possibly turning bad on January 6th. And Hutchinson told Congress that on that day, she'd been told the president was unconcerned that his supporters were armed and lunged to grab the steering wheel of his limousine from a Secret Service agent.
The president reached up towards the front of the vehicle to grab at the steering wheel. Mr. Engel grabbed his arm, said, "Sir, you need to take your hand off the steering wheel."
Trump, she said, insisted on going to the Capitol, where his supporters broke in and came within 40 feet of Vice President Pence. The January 6th committee will meet next on July 12th. Members of the panel have said that hearing will focus on the organization that preceded January 6th and look at extremist groups like the Proud Boys. More testimony from Trump officials is expected as the hearings proceed. The question hanging over the committee remains: how many Americans will be swayed by these hearings, and will the evidence presented lead to prosecutions? For now, the jury is out.
If our vote don't count, we'll never be able to choose another president.
In response to the House Court, assist with the triage.